So yeah, this podcast is super casual conversation. I'm so excited to have you on. My first question is, I was like, are you excited to take down Halloween decor and start putting up holiday decor?
So will you be upset with me if I don't even have Halloween decor up?
You know what?
I am that person.
Okay, I will not be upset with you because how old is your daughter?
She is almost 2.
Okay, so we did not put up Halloween decor until Milo is 4.
Okay,
So
yeah, I'm like, I feel like she doesn't even really get it. Like,
yeah.
okay, but then it is kind of sad because a lot of we have some like hay barrels and pumpkins on our porch.
Oh,
But
that's
inside
lots.
yeah, so like we have that, but inside the house, not much. But she does, like, my parents have a ton of decor and she's obsessed with it. So now I'm like, okay, next year we got to pull it together. But last
Yeah.
year she didn't even know. So I'm like, we're not going to do it this time around.
And do you
But
decorate lots for the holidays?
that's the thing is I love decorating for Christmas. I've never been a big like Halloween decor fan. Like some of it can be really cute, but I just feel like it's so short-lived. But like I'm already going to start decorating for like Christmas. Like we probably will hold off on the tree. We'll see how long, but I'm very excited for Christmas decor.
I know. My husband this morning, we were having coffee and he's like, are you going to put up the Christmas tree today?
You're like, well, why not? I'm already doing stuff. Might as well.
I know. I'm like looking at the living room, like, which corner should I put it in?
I know.
Yeah, that's so
It is
me.
so fun. It's so fun. Well, it's like you're already transitioning, so you might as well just do it now. Like,
Yeah.
have it be a day.
Totally.
But then, yeah, I know it's hard.
Okay, so I want to tell people. So we had scheduled a recording a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this was the day, I'm sure people will remember, Milo woke up and all of a sudden was vomiting everywhere. And so we had to reschedule it. So here we are, we made it.
Yes.
But also you recently announced on Instagram that you're pregnant.
Yes, it's honestly kind of perfect that we waited because now we get to talk about this.
I'm
know. So excited. Yes,
So
we are pregnant with baby number 2, and it's like the biggest blessing ever. We're so excited.
like so exciting. And I remember I was going to ask you about, because it was well known that you were looking forward to growing your family.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to ask her about that. And then it happened and I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so exciting. So was it, obviously you were trying?
Yes,
Okay.
we were trying. We had been trying for a while. It was definitely something we've wanted to have happened. It only took me like 4 months to get pregnant with Sage. So I was kind of like, let's start trying because it'll probably take a couple months. But it ended up taking a lot longer than that. It was super tough. I mean, I can't even compare. There are people who go through years and years and years of trying, but it's tough. Like if you've ever been trying to anybody who's trying to conceive, like it's not an easy thing. Like,
and it's all consuming.
Yes, it literally is. It's all you think about. You're like prepping for all the timing of everything. Every month there's that like excitement and then the letdown. And then you're like, okay, we got to do it all over again. So it was at that point where we were both like, oh, okay. I actually had an appointment set up with a fertility doctor or fertility specialist because I was like, maybe there's something that we need to do. My mom has a history of PCOS. My sister just got diagnosed. So I was like, maybe something has changed. Maybe there's something we need to address. And literally a week before my appointment with the doctor is when I found out I was pregnant.
Okay,
So,
that is so...
yes.
So we were trying for quite a while with Milo. And same thing, I had gone through all the appointments, like fertility, like checking on everything. Everything was fine. And so I actually had an appointment at a fertility like specialist clinic or whatever to talk about the next steps. And the day they came back with the appointment time is the day I found out that I was pregnant. Like,
no way.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how that happens. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like, honestly, so the fertility specialist that I was going to see is actually still going to be my doctor for my pregnancy. And he said, he's like, you would not believe how many women get that appointment scheduled and it relieves that amount of stress of like, I need to get in. It's like, okay, I'm going to do something about it. He's like, and then they get pregnant. Cause I feel like, he's like, I feel like that stress drops a little bit. You feel like you're doing something right for the first time. Yeah. And so you don't have that stress anymore. He's like, I feel like that's a huge factor. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. I mean, I literally, once I got that appointment, I was like, okay, like I can breathe now. We'll figure it out next month. It'll be okay. And then I got pregnant. So it worked out really well.
So are you somebody who, before you even had Sage, were you like I know that I want multiple kids, or have you
Yes.
like wavered? Okay.
So no, we've always wanted multiple kids. I will say, like, we always said four. Like, we were like, four is what we want. But after one, we were like, maybe three. But we definitely want at least three. Like, we're so excited about the second, but like, we know we're not done. So at least three, potentially four. So that's kind of where we're at. We're sitting between three and four right now. Depends on
I
how
love
hard our
it.
next kid is.
See, for me, I grew up with three. Like I have a younger sister, older brother. And so I was like,
Okay.
okay, like I'm going to have three.
Yeah.
And then I had Milo and I was like, okay, nobody tells like, how hard this is.
Yes. And time
So
consuming. You're like,
hard.
how do I do this with more than one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've kind of like for a while I was like, okay, no, we're just going to have one. And now that Milo is 4 and he's like more independent, he's like
Yeah.
this little adult, I'm like, I kind of want another Milo,
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
and my husband's like, oh God. And I'm like, yeah, like,
You're
I
like, I
think,
feel it.
and I talk about it all the time because I feel like it's always assumed that everyone just knows exactly how many kids they want. And a lot of us are actually like really confused about it. And we're like, I don't know. Like a lot of people go to therapy to
Yes.
like figure out, should I have
Like,
more kids?
it's so true. I mean, it's such a big decision. Like, it really is. The more kids you have, the dynamic of your family is naturally going to change. The amount of time that you can give to each kid is naturally going to change. And like finding out, like, because I have this day, I mean, I remember like week 2 with newborn Sage, I was like, we need to have a baby immediately. Because I was just like, I can't ever, the baby stage can never end. Like, I need to just consistently have babies. But then, like, obviously that's what I wanted. But then when I thought about it in the sense of like, what is best for my family? Probably not best for me to get pregnant 2 months after having my daughter. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, it's interesting how you have to go through these battles of like, what do I want and what's best for my family? What sounds fun? Like, because sometimes we get ideas and it's like, that sounds fun. But then you're like, hey, wait, is that logical? Is that reasonable for our family? So it really is. It's so hard. And yeah, like I always said 4, but that's because that's how many kids I have in my family. That's how many kids my husband has. So that's just like what we knew. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a family. 4 kids is a family. But
Yeah.
now it's like, after having Sage, I'm like, okay, I definitely want to have more than 2, but like maybe 3 is enough because it's a lot. Like,
It
it really is hard. But then
is.
I'm sure after I have my third, it's going to be a constant battle every day of like, are we done? I always think it's so amazing when women like can just decide like, you know what, I'm done. That's it. I'm like, that must be a good feeling to get that confirmation and feel that peace of like, this is our family. This is
I
what we are going with.
know. That was me. And now I'm like,
And then yeah, I know. Well, time is so hard. And also, I can't imagine like Sage is only 2 and I already crave that like baby and newborn phase again. Like, I'm like, I want to do this with more kids. So it's hard. It's like, I don't know. It's hard. And I'm sure, yeah, as they get older and it's like, okay, I think I could do this.
yeah.
I think I could do it again. So
I think like all
that's
my
crazy.
memories of how difficult certain stages were. And I feel like certain things really affected me. Like, like them crying, like it makes me anxious and I'm like, oh, like it just
Yeah.
upsets me so much. Like the first, few weeks where we were bringing him to daycare, I was like heartbroken. And like all
Yeah.
these things are so hard on parents,
Yeah.
even though it's like, they're fine. It's like I
Yeah.
take it all on and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that again. Like it's so stressful.
I know that is
Yeah.
hard. I remember the first time driving in the car with Sage. It was just me and her. She was really young. We were driving home and she starts crying and then like doesn't stop and it gets built up to that like and I had to pull over on the side of the road because I was just like, oh my gosh, like full panic. But then there's part of me that's like, because you live through it and you see like they're okay. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I wonder if with the next one it'll be easier for me. Because I'm like, I imagine I'll look at them and be like, I really am so sad that you're crying. Like, I don't want you to cry, but I also know you're okay. And like, I don't need to panic or stress about it. I hope. I'm like crossing my fingers that the second time around, it's like you're used to it. So it doesn't hit you as hard.
That's exactly what I said to my husband. I was like, I think if we had a second, I don't know that I would be as affected as I was with Milo, like them crying, like now we know how to handle like bedtime battles. We know how to handle like them not
Yeah.
wanting to brush their teeth. Like we've gone through it. And so it's not going to be as daunting.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
does
I
Sage
totally agree.
understand?
She does ish. So my two younger sisters just had babies this summer, like back to back. And while they were pregnant, Sage was so aware of their growing bellies. Like she'd point at them and say baby, she'd kiss their bellies. So like she understood that there was babies in her belly. And then now that the babies are out, she's like obsessed with them. She loves them. She understands to be soft. She understands to be quiet. Like she's very aware of them. So I think she totally does understand. I think it's hard because I don't have like a full belly yet. But if I do point at my belly and say, what's in mommy's belly? She'll say baby. So it's like, I think she gets it, but then also like, I don't think she actually gets like there's going to be a baby that actually comes out, but she's getting the little things. And it's exciting because by the time our second baby's born, she'll be 2.5. So I'm like, she'll just be even older and hopefully understand even more. But so
Yeah.
far, she's getting it pretty good.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I wanted to ask, obviously you were on Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, let's talk about babies first, but then we can talk about
I love
Dancing
it.
with the
Babies
Stars.
are the most important thing.
Yeah. So, you were on Dancing with the Stars as a professional dancer for over 10 years, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Very long
Like
time. Oh, that's crazy. That is
that
crazy.
is incredible. And I was curious how you got to that point. Like how did that happen?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I mean, I grew up dancing my whole entire life. Like that's what I did from age like 3 or 4, can't even remember, just my whole life. I went to dance more than I went to school.
Wow.
So, I mean, I still went to school, but I mean, I'd go to school and then literally come home and be at dance until I went to sleep that night. So it was my whole life. I don't know if you've heard of the TV show So You Think You Can Dance, but
Yes.
I actually did that one first. So that was like, if you've seen the show, you know that dan- thousands of dancers audition. Couple of them make it on the live show. I mean, I grew up watching the show. It was like my dream. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so
So
cool.
was it a whole thing? You were like, I'm going to go audition for this?
Well, no, I like just loved the show, but I was like, I'm not going to audition because I will never ever make it. But I turned 18. The auditions were literally the month after me turning 18, and they were here in Salt Lake, which I'm from Utah, so they were like 30 minutes away. And my mom was like, "You're doing it." And I remember being just so annoyed at her. I'm like, "This is so embarrassing. I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go. I'm not going to make it. This is going to be so dumb." But of course, my mom talked me into doing a lot of things growing up, which I'm very grateful for because if she hadn't, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. No, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. So I did it, and I made it to like the next round. But that still meant that I was one of like 400 or 500 dancers. So I'm like, oh, whatever. It's not going to go much further than this. Went to the Vegas week, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like the like preliminary auditions, and then you have like the main ones where they actually pick out like the top 20, and I ended up making it to the top 20 on there, and it was on the live show. Totally a whirlwind. Graduated high school. I was out in LA the next month, living by myself, doing So You Think You Can Dance. I auditioned as a ballroom dancer, but I grew up doing all styles. But I think because I auditioned as a ballroom dancer, I caught Dancing with the Stars. And while I
Oh.
was, yeah, because it's like that's their style. So I went on tour with So You Think You Can Dance as soon as the season was over. And while on tour, I got contacted by the producers of Dancing with the Stars. And all they really told me was that they were interested in me for the next season. There's lots of different roles that you can do on Dancing with the Stars. You can be a professional, which is paired with the celebrity. You could be a backup dancer. You can be just somebody that they use every once in a while. So it's like, I didn't really assume that meant I'd be a pro. I was just like, oh, maybe they'll use me for a couple episodes or something. So do the tour, finish the tour. I'm back home. It's like February. Dancing with the Stars rehearsals start end of February, early March. And I get a call from the producer, and they're like, how tall are you? We need to know ASAP. So I send them that information. About a week later, they call me. They're like, congratulations. Like, we want you as a professional dancer this season, and we need you in LA tomorrow to start with your partner. And I was living in Utah, still at my parents' house. Like, I was just like, I was enrolled to go to college. I was like fully like, okay, like dance was fun, but like I gotta move on with my career, like get my education. So I was ready to go to college and everything. But yeah, next day drove myself to California with everything packed in my car that I could fit. Started with my partner the next day. I'm 18 years old. This is my first time being a pro. It was honestly the craziest whirlwind, but I'm so grateful for it. I was kind of just like thrown into it, and I
Yeah.
honestly wouldn't have it any other way because I mean, yeah, I was 10 years after that.
You didn't have time to overthink anything. It was just like, go, 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 go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, and so once I started that when I was 18, yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe I had just turned 19. I think I just turned 19, but started that and then 10 years later, never stopped. So,
And so your husband was your high school sweetheart. So were you guys
yes,
together the entire time?
we were. So we started dating our junior year. I was 16 and graduated high school. He actually went up to college here. He went to the University of Utah, which is like 45 minutes away. And I went and did all my things. So we did long distance, but we stayed together for about 3.5 years after high school before we got married. So it was kind of crazy, but literally the best thing ever. It made our relationship so strong. A lot of people were like, "How did you survive?" But literally, I think the reason we survived is because we had to work through the long distance, the challenge of not seeing each other often, but he's the best. Like truly, if roles, I always say like if roles were switched, I don't think we'd still be together because I
Mm.
am like I'm not good at that. I'm not good at like I don't know. I'm just not. He was the best. He never jealous, so supportive, so excited about everything that I could possibly be doing. He flew out when he could to see me, but also like it was a perfect scenario. So yeah, we did that for about 3.5 years, and then we got married. And he actually was able to like travel with me and be where I needed to be with work.
I never even thought about it, about how, like, what you're doing on the show. Like, you're romantically dancing with
I
other
know.
people. I never
I
even
know.
put that together. You were like, he was never jealous. I was like, what would he? Oh,
I
right.
know. But you know what's so funny is I never even thought that that's something he should be jealous about until people started asking me, like, how does
Yeah.
your husband handle you dancing with boys? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's dancing. But I think it's because we were together at such a young age. Like, and when I was in high school, I was dancing with boys. I had a ballroom partner that I would travel all across the country with to do competitions. Sometimes we'd go by ourselves. Like we were dancing and like dancing can be very intimate. So from the second we started dating, like that's what he was seeing, that's what he was around, and he has always loved it. Like never once has he ever made me feel like that's weird that you're so close to guys. So it's just
Yeah.
funny because never in our marriage was it ever even a conversation until people started asking me like how did your husband handle that, and I'm like what do you mean, like that's just what we do. And that's when we started having conversation. He's like yeah, no, it's never bugged me, like it's obviously dancing, it's like an art, it's
A
part of what you
job.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because yeah, like jealousy never even occurred to me, and I'm grateful it didn't because it's true, like some guys probably would be like that's just not okay with me, but he was always like that, this is what you do, like this is your passion, this is art, it's not about anything else. So it
Have you
worked out
ever
good.
tried to teach him to dance?
Yes. I mean, definitely like what's so funny is I actually have random videos of me like choreographing dances with him. Obviously, he doesn't really participate much, but just like have a body there and like try things with him, try tricks with him. I always tease him. I'm like, you're good, but you're not like incredible. Like if you were on the show, like I think we'd make it pretty far, but I think we'd have to rely more on personality and like charisma than like actual dance ability. So that's kind of his
uh,
level.
I love it. So while you were on Dancing with the Stars, and then you were pregnant with Sage,
Yes.
then you ended up going back to Dancing with the Stars after giving birth.
Yeah.
What did that look like? Like, what was the timing and also your recovery?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, I was like, okay, you had a baby. When I had Milo, I did not experience, I remember trying to make TikTok dances in my kitchen when he was 18 months old
I
and
love it.
like leaking urine. And I was like,
Oh, you're like, what is happening?
oh my God. So luckily, I had a super strong pelvic floor. So it got like fixed pretty quick. But
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, dancing is so intense.
I
So what
know.
was that like recovery?
So I think in some ways I got really lucky because I had a decent amount of time. So I got pregnant in March of 2020, which was start of COVID. There
Yeah.
was a Dancing with the Stars season that fall, and I actually had Sage like at the very end of that season. So I had her in November, and then the next season wasn't until we didn't start rehearsing until end of August. So I had a pretty good amount of time, but still, I mean, I don't think there's ever enough time when it comes to like postpartum recovery. But I had a C-section, which was hard because I just didn't really know. I don't have anybody who's had one. So it was like, how long do I need to wait to do things? How am I going to feel? What's kind of the process there? Um, so part of it though was helpful, part of it was harder. C-section was hard because I actually had to wait longer to move my body afterwards. And really like targeting my core was huge, and it took a lot longer for that to get back than some of my other friends who delivered vaginally. But then
Mm-hmm.
interesting, like I didn't push a baby out vaginally. So I feel like some of those pelvic floor issues weren't as I mean, I'm not going to say that they weren't because obviously I carried a baby. I still pee my pants all the time. It's embarrassing, but it was a different kind of healing. So it's interesting. I think more for me, it was like core is what I really had to work on and what kind of was tough for me. And getting back into dancing, there were definitely things where I would do a movement and I maybe feel a little strain or something that felt a little bit off. So I really just had to listen to my body. But I'm so grateful because I actually, while I was pregnant, is when I started. I have a workout program called the Movement Club. And I started that while I was pregnant and I gained so much knowledge. I actually became a certified personal trainer and learned so much about my body that I didn't know. And I feel like I knew a lot about my body growing up as a dancer. So it was very nice because going into that postpartum phase, I felt very knowledgeable on what I could and couldn't do and what I needed to do to get that strength back. But it's tough. I'm grateful that I had the time that I had because I will say by the time rehearsals came around, like I felt strong. I didn't feel 100% back at all, but I felt strong and I felt confident. And I'm glad because I think if it had been any sooner, it would have been tough for me to trust my body and like feel confident enough to do the things that you have to do when you're dancing.
Yeah. And so you were like in recovery, and then you started the new season of Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah.
and Sage was with you in LA.
Yes. That was honestly probably the hardest part. Like recovery was tough and like all that, but the toughest part is going back to a job that is so consuming, that is 24/7, that you've done for so many years, going back as a mom. And
Yeah.
what was even tougher is I went out to LA by myself with Sage. My husband, about 2 years before we had Sage, got a full time job here in Utah, works full time, can leave on the weekends, but not like consistently, can't be gone for long periods of time. Like he has to be here. So I went out to LA with just Sage, just me and Sage, and my husband Sam came down and visited us when he could, but huge change. I went from being in Utah where I have my whole family here, all of my sisters, my parents, Sam's parents, his family, Sam, like I had a full support system. I had people at the drop of a hat if I needed something. And going out there, having to find a nanny that I've never really met before, and just kind of going through that is so different. All while not just living regular life, but doing this job that truly, like when I tell you Dancing with the Stars is a 24/7 job, it really, really is. When you're not at rehearsal, you're prepping choreography, you're thinking of concepts for the next dance, you're finding out costume designs, you're watching your videos and obsessing over what you need to fix and what you need to change. Like it's all consuming. So going into that was really tough because naturally, as a mom, nothing can be more all consuming than motherhood. Like,
Yeah.
at least for me, that is going to be at the top of my list always, as I'm sure it is for you too. And it's like, as much as we would love to be able to give that energy and attention to everything else in our lives, like it's really tough. So that was hard.
I struggle with exactly that. Like, I went from being so focused, like doing my PhD, like the focus was on me, my goals, and then you have a
Yeah.
baby, and it's like this back and forth. Like, I want to put all my attention on Milo and just be like a full-time mom, but then I also have all these like desires and things that I want to do for myself. And I
Yeah.
always say, like, my husband's a surgeon, so he
Oh,
does
wow.
not have a flexible job
No.
whatsoever.
Wow.
So for me, I feel very lucky that what I do now is very flexible, like content
Yeah.
creator, podcast. Like, for example, we had the recording and Milo was barfing. So, okay, we
You're
can
like, okay, we got to
reschedule.
move it. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
know.
But Dancing with the Stars, and like you said, it's 24/7. This is not a flexible
Yeah.
situation at
No,
all.
not at all. And yeah, it is a battle. And I think like the balance is good. Like I think it's important that we have things that we do for ourselves and that give us like that help us feel value and feel like we accomplished something for ourselves. And ultimately, I mean, I decided not to do the season this year. And it was because of a lot of those reasons. I found a lot of other things that I'm so grateful I can be passionate about that are flexible, that
Yeah.
work with motherhood and work with my schedule. And not to say that some people, like, it's not possible. Like, some people do it and it's amazing and it works for them. But for me and for what fulfills me and brings me happiness, like, this is what I feel works and works for our
Mm-hmm.
family. But it is a constant battle. It's so hard. I mean, the hardest decision I've ever had to make was deciding not to do this season because it's my passion. It's something that was me. Like, if you had, I mean, if someone meets me, they're like, oh, you're from Dance with the Stars. Like, you're Dance with the Stars. Like, literally, the amount of times I
It's
have
like
said,
your identity. Like,
yes, it is. And I love that. Like, I mean, I love the show. And it's like, it's not like it's over for me. I tell everybody, like, I definitely have not closed that chapter. I will always consider Dance with the Stars a family. And if I ever can go back or feel that it's right, I 100% will. But it's just, it's those little choices that you have to make as mom. But it's interesting because I don't look at it as like I gave it up. Like, I gave up the show because I'm a mom now. Because I think a lot of people are like, well, just because you're a mom doesn't mean you have to like give up what you love. But I think what happened is my love and passion for the show changed so much when my priorities were different, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
what happened last season is I didn't feel like I could give it that 24/7 all encompassing attention because my priorities are different. And I'm the kind of person who wants to be able to give that attention. I don't want to just do a job or do a gig or do something because it's like, oh, that's just what I do, or it's for the money. It's like, I want to be able to give it everything I had. And I couldn't do that. And that's kind of where a lot of the decision came from too.
Yeah. Was there ever any conversation at all about your husband moving to LA so that you could continue the show? Like, was that even a thought or was it not?
So, yes, at one point, my husband was like, I can see if I can quit my job for a couple months and see if they'll have me back in a little bit. But then that just felt awful. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent so much of our lives, like, Sam did college for maybe 2 years, but then he did everything, packed up, did everything online to travel with me, go on tours with me, live in LA with me, so that I could do what I loved. And it didn't feel right. Like, my husband's job is the job that is consistent, steady, that will stay with us forever. My
Mm-hmm.
job, and like, as I'm sure you know, is
Yep.
very fluctuating. Like, first of all, I could never dance for my whole life. I mean, I wish I could, but there's definitely a point where dancing would no longer be possible for me. And then even this is very fluctuating. Like,
Yeah.
it could be done at the drop of a hat. So it's like, it just didn't feel right. Like, I mean, I was very grateful that he even like went there and had that thought and was willing to do that for me. But at the same time, I'm like, no, you love your job. You're good at it. You're climbing in your career. Like, this is your time and you're setting this up for forever. Everything I do can be so exciting, but at the same time, it's like, it's not set in stone. It really isn't.
It's funny that you just said that because literally this morning I was thinking those thoughts because I've been struggling with like, do we have a second child or not? I had to think about that because for me,
Yeah.
like I started this podcast, I started creating content in quarantine and
Yeah. Okay.
everything blew up. And so now I'm
Yeah.
doing this like full time. I'm obsessed with the podcast. Um, but then and so it's hard for me to be like, okay, like let's have a second baby. All my attention's going to go there
Yeah.
because my husband's job is that is not going to change. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I have to be like, this could be gone in like any time.
Yeah.
And so
It
like,
really
what's
could.
your, like, whereas having children, like that's your whole life. Like that's
Yeah.
going to last a lifetime. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's so
I love
true.
that you said that because I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it's so true. Like, I think about that a lot. I think it's just like, and it's good. Like, I think it's good that I think it's good that we think like that, understanding
Yeah.
that what we're doing is amazing, but it's not guaranteed, and like not relying on it or putting so much of our worth or like our lives into it. Because I think we have to understand that, like, yeah, like you said, like this might not be forever. So enjoy it while you can, but understand that like there's parts of life and there's parts of things that will be forever. So make sure
Yeah.
we're like thinking about those too.
Like not like rearranging your family planning for something
Yes.
that could not be permanent and
Yes,
is likely
exactly.
not permanent. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I saw on your Instagram that Sage does dance lessons and I was like,
Yes.
this is the cutest thing ever.
So cute.
Like Do they start as soon as they can walk, basically?
So this studio, so Utah, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Utah is like a dance state. Like so many dancers come out of Utah, so I feel like we take it very seriously here. So the studio that like we all grew up at actually takes them as young as 2 years old. I kind of cheated and started because she turns two actually tomorrow is her second birthday. But they started the season in September, and I'm like, I want her to like get to know everybody and get to know the teacher and like not wait until November. So I asked, and she's like, it's fine, you can put her in. So she started before she was two, which is pretty
Oh, I
young. Like
love it.
like I didn't start that young. None of my sisters started that young, so we're really going for it. But it's so cute. Honestly, though, like it is a dance class, but it's also like a let's just run around and play and have fun and wear cute tutus. So I don't
Yeah.
think they're really doing much dancing quite yet, but it's so cute. And I do think it's good for her to like understand like organized chaos a little bit and like have a teacher that's telling her something to do and trying to listen. I die laughing because she is definitely not great at listening so far. So we'll see how that goes. But it's really
That's
fun to
okay.
watch. Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's fine. It's
You look
fine.
cute. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, okay, before we end, I thought you could tell us about the movement club because
Yes.
I'm super interested. Every day I feel like I'm like, I just need to move my body. So,
Yes.
tell us what this is.
Well, that is literally like the purpose behind the movement club is just to move your body. I started this when I got pregnant during COVID. This was the first time. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to be dancing and I knew I wasn't. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not doing this next season of Dance with the Stars. It's going to be at least a year before I'm dancing professionally again. And all the gyms were closed. I was just at home all day. I was looking for workout programs to join, but honestly, I was just like not in love with anything that I could find. I felt like there wasn't something that was like more, I don't know, that was something that I could do at every stage of life. I felt like you had like your pregnancy programs and then your not pregnant programs. And it didn't feel like anything could kind of intertwine or be flexible to work with all stages of life. And that's where I was like, I got the idea, but I also was like, I pushed it away for a little bit because I'm like, I'm pregnant, don't be crazy. But I'm like, I should start this. Like, I'm home, I have time, I want to move my body. I feel very knowledgeable in moving my body and what I think is really good for it, how to prevent injury. So I'm like, let's just do it. So I started filming workouts. I decided I'm like, okay, before I have Sage, I want to get at least 40 workouts filmed. And then we'll launch the program like after I have Sage. We'll figure it out. So I started filming. Um, I ended up getting 40 workouts done. The first workout I filmed was when I was 25 weeks pregnant. I remember filming my last workout at 36 weeks pregnant because I was like, I got to be done. I need to give myself a couple weeks before baby comes. But this program is really just like the purpose of it is to have a really welcoming, inviting place where literally anybody can come and move their body. I wanted to make sure there was like no pressure, no intimidation. You can be in the best shape of your life. You can be just working out for the very, very first time. You can be pregnant. You can be postpartum. Like there's something for everybody. And within the program, we have so many different ranges of what you can do. We've got hit-based program or workouts. We've got Pilates, yoga, dance-based workouts, tons of stretching videos. I have a full pregnancy-friendly playlist in there for anybody who like wants to join. But then also all the workouts can be done like if you're not pregnant. So I think it was just making sure there was a program where you could come and find something that is for you. So started out with those 40 workouts, released it back in 2021. And then after that, I had a new workout coming out every single week. I've had a new workout every single week for almost the past year and a half. We have like over 125 workouts on the program. Another thing that was huge for me is making sure that these workouts were really flexible and easy to fit into your day. Everything can be done at home, no equipment necessary. The workouts range from like 5-minute workouts all the way up to 30-minute because for me, I really believe that less is more. I think that the like stigma around having to hit the gym for 2 hours every day is the only way you're going to see difference. But like, come on, that's just not realistic for most people. Like I could
No,
never go to the gym for 2 hours. Like
no.
I just couldn't. Even if I had the time, I'd be there feeling guilty because I'm like, I got to do things. So 30 minutes is attainable for me. Even sometimes like if I wake up, I'm like, I literally have 5 minutes before Sage starts crying. I'm just going to do a quick little workout so that I feel like I got my body moving today. So really just like making it easy to fit into your schedule. And then if you're like, I actually have 15 extra minutes, you can stack workouts together, just something that really anybody can fit into their day and that can work for busy moms, busy businesswomen, or whoever you are.
Yeah. Stretching classes, like that is the bomb.
I know. Sometimes
love
that's
stretching.
all you want to do. Yes.
Yeah. Especially like sitting at a desk all day. I was so active my whole life. And then just recently I've started to find that I'm not being active and I can feel it. I'm like,
oh, it's huge.
I'm in pain. Like it's just, need to start moving for sure. For your dance classes that are on there, is it like different kinds of dance?
So we have a few dance instructional where I'll teach you like a little piece of choreography, but then a lot of them are like dance cardio. So it's like dance movements, kind of like, have you ever taken like a high fitness class?
Like
have you heard of that?
Not like that, no.
Okay, so it's dance movements that I've put together that really just get your heart rate pumping. Like those are probably my hardest and most fun cardio classes because one, you're being distracted by the movement, like the concentration and the coordination it takes distracts you a little bit from how hard you're actually working. And then you finish the class and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm sweating so bad. So those are some of my favorite workouts. And as a dancer, like dance has been the best cardio for me throughout my entire life. So I love that I can kind of incorporate that into the program.
Every once in a while I try and do a yoga class with Milo and he will follow along. And I bet you he will love the dance class.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Sure. You need to do this 100%.
I will.
It's so fun. Yeah.
I will for sure. Okay. Well, this was great. Thank you so much for talking with me. One last question.
Yeah.
I know you're obsessed with Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
I have not been watching this season, but I know the cast that is on. What's your prediction for who is going to go far?
Okay, so here are my top 3, I think, right now. Charli D'Amelio. Mm-hmm. She's obviously incredible. She's a dancer.
Yeah.
Yes. But I will say, like, she is a dancer, and we've had a lot of dancers come on the show, and some of them are just, like, they're good. Some of them really exceed, and she is really exceeding. Like, she is really, really good. Every single week she gets better and better somehow, so she's amazing. We have Wayne Brady. He is incredible. He's also got some natural dancing ability, but then he also has like a really fun personality. I feel
he's a performer.
Yes, he's a performer. Yeah. So he's incredible. And then Shangela, who is from RuPaul's Drag Race, she's incredible. Like when she steps onto the stage, she's amazing. But then what's so cool is I love seeing Gleb and they're in the rehearsal together and like seeing, I don't know. I love seeing how he transitions from being a him in rehearsal and being so confident in that role, stepping onto the stage as a she and being so confident and just giving it their all is just incredible every single week. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's like those 3 are probably my favorite at the moment. But then again, with Dancing with the Stars, people always like shock you and come in and I don't know. You just never know. So those are kind of my top 3. Those are my predictions for now. I don't know who's going to win, but those are top 3.
I feel like I need to watch now.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's so good. There's so many interesting, fun characters on there. Like, I love it so much.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, lastly, where can people find you online and how do we sign up for the Movement Club?
Yes. Okay. So you can find me on my Instagram. It's at Lindsay Arnold for all channels. And then my workout program is at the Movement Club on all channels, TikTok, Instagram. If you want to join the program, go to movementclub.com. You can start your 7-day free trial. That way you can kind of test it out, see if it's right for you, and then move forward if it is. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your pregnancy. I will be watching closely and I'm probably going to have to tell my husband, like, okay, I think we're going to have a second.
I know. It's like, it's so hard.
Yeah,
but I believe in you. Like, I think, I feel like you would be an incredible mama too. Like, I just feel it. So
thanks. No, I'm like working through, I love how I like put my own shit into the conversation.
No,
like,
I love
it's like
that.
therapy
for
me.
Conversation. No, I love that. I love it.
Me too. Well, thank you so much. This was great.